Okay, I think we're in business now. All right. We're in Bamei Madlikin. We are on in Halacha Gimel, which is on page Tezvav base, Tezainu base. Excuse me. Kol Yitzim Eitz. Ein Madlikin Elapishtan. Anything which comes from wood, one cannot use as a wick except for linen. Chol hayetzim min eitzim mitame tumas olim. Anything which comes from wood is not mitame and tumas olim. Now tumas olim means specifically not that the tent, not the stuff under the tent. The stuff on the tent always is tummy. In other words, if I make a tent with any material, so then anything under the tent, if it's together with a mace, becomes tummy. The question is with what the material, what's mitame the tent itself. Okay, does the tent itself become tummy to masalim? So if the tent is made of any material which comes from wood other than flax, it doesn't become tummy. Now, for some reason, I don't know why I never paid attention to that when learning the Bavli, but this was like a totally new concept to me today. I don't know what I did when I learned about Memad Likin, and I still don't know what I do every Friday night when I say this. But this is
That's my second question.
sad comment, but yeah, this taka means that there's only one substance which it itself becomes tummy when it's the tent material. Now you have a wick made out of a garment, okay, made out of a garment, an old garment. You folded it, meaning you twisted it to make it a wick, but you didn't singe it before Shabbos. Rabbi Miller says if that garment is still makabel tuma. Now it's not necessarily tamei at this point, but it can become tamei at this point because it's still considered to be a beged. And since it's a keli, it's still a beged. Ain't malikin boy now to use it as a wick. Why now to use the wick? Because then you're destroying a keli on Shabbos, right? If you may use it as a wick and you burn it on Shabbos, so it's like burning, it's destroying a beged, which is awesome.
Even though mentally you designate.
Oh yeah, even though you designate, it's not enough. You have to, and it's not enough even to twist it into a wick. You have to actually singe it from before Shabbos, according to Rabbi Eliezer. Now Rabbi Akiva says Tohera.
It's not.
It is a keli.
By singeing on Shabbos.
By singeing it, yes. By burning on Shabbos to destroy it, sure. In other words, if I took my shirt sleeve and I wrapped it around like that, right, to make it a wick, right, it's still a shirt sleeve. That's what Rabbi Eliezer says. So therefore, it's still tamei, and therefore I can't light it on Shabbos. But I use it for benching licht, right? Because when it starts burning, I'm destroying the shirt.
I guess I don't understand. This shirt sleeve is must be attached to some oil.
It's you stick it in your oil, yeah. It's a wick. You're using an old garment as a wick. Now it could be a piece of a garment too. We're going to discuss that in the Gemara. We're talking about using an old garment as a wick. Rabbi Akiva says, Rabbi Akiva says the moment it's folded and twisted into the form of the wick, it's tar. It means that if it was tamei till now, it loses its status as tumah, right? Because it doesn't need to be a wick. Malikin, but there you can use it to light candles. On Rabbi Shimon bar Yitzchak, Rabbi Shimon Yitzchak said, "Ksiv," it says, "Lalos ner tamid." It says to bring up a constant flame. Shia Rulomar Chazal reckoned She'en L'Choser Shalevis is nothing which makes a constant flame. Ela Pishtam Bilvad except for flax or linen. Linen is the best kind of wick. I think nowadays you use cotton, but linen I guess is just as good or. It seems better. Tana Rishim ben Elazar Kol Yotzei Min Ha'etz. Anything which comes from a tree, Ein Bo Mishum Sholosh Al Sholosh. Now, anything other than flax, other than linen, as we will see, it's not matami if it's only 3 by 3 at bows. What's minimum shear for any other garment? Only if it's made out of linen or wool. If it's made of anything else, 3 by 3 tefachim. Shlosha al shlosha, as opposed to shalosh al shalos. Okay, shlosha shalosh is its bows, right? These are finger breadths. But linen and wool are fine materials. They are significant even in the size of 3 finger breadths by 3 finger breadths. Other materials are coarser materials. They're only significant in the size of 3 by 3 tefachim. Okay, is that clear? So that's what he says. May also be used as schach in a sukkah. Because if it's less than the shiur, if it's not made into a garment, it's not considered to be significant. With the exception of flax. Flax flax is considered to be makabel tuma, even if it's spun already into 3 by 3 at both, and you cannot use it as a schach on a sukkah. So if you had rags made out of some other fiber, and they were less than 3 by 3 tefachim, you'd use them as schach. But flax rags, the moment they're 3 by 3 tefachim, you may not use as schach. Okay? Is that clear? Well, I keep saying flax rags, linen rags. Rabbi Yossi said, also a sok oven. They made other garments, other than linen garments, as thick garments. Titznina, as we learned, ha'avim, thick garments, even harakim, even if they're so soft, they are not metame 3 by 3 exposed. They're only metame 3 by 3 tefachim. Okay? Amar Rabbi Lezer, mina mishkan lomdu. Rabbi Lezer said they learned this from the Mishkan. Now, what did they learn from the Mishkan? The concept of ohel. How do we learn the concept of ohel from the Mishkan? Because the Yechsiv, it says, "V'esa Mishkan taseh eseriyo sheish marzor." The awning over the Mishkan was made out of 10 sheets, made of woven sheish. What is woven sheish? So it says elsewhere in the pasuk, it says elsewhere that the mitznefes, the hat, was made out of sheish, right? And it says in Yechezkel, I think it's Yechezkel, yes, uksi parei pishtim yuah rosham. The Kohanim will wear hats of linen, right? Atla made sheish mi-sheish, sheish mi-pare. So from this we deduce that it says sheish by the curtain, the sheets over the top of the Mishkan. It says sheish by the hats of the Kohen Gadol. It says and the hat of the Kohen Gadol we know was made out of linen. So therefore, wherever it says sheish, as in big day sheish, it refers to linen garments. Okay. Okay, it's not clear exactly what the Korban Pnei Moshe, they all have difficulty what exactly the psukim are which are being used in this Gzeir Shava. But I'm telling you, I think the most straightforward way to do it is, neither of them say this, but that doesn't matter. So you have, says sheish by the curtains. It says sheish by the hat of Aaron HaKohen. And that's a mitznefes, which is a hat, and it says there in Cheskel that it says in Cheskel that they're made out of linen. Now we have in this one of Dr. Spadel's favorite questions, which is, how can we learn something from Navi, right? How make Zershov? I know the way. If I don't know the way your mind works by now, I'm in trouble. So the two of Yerushalmi asked that question. You don't have the two of Yerushalmi, but it's on the bottom of this Gemara, and he doesn't answer it. But the thing is that you already noticed that Yerushalmi doesn't have this Kpeda, right? Yerushalmi has done this before. So I don't remember where, but I remember the questions come up. So this obviously Yerushalmi doesn't care. We learn back and forth from Torah to Nevi'im and Ksuvim. Yeah, he brings down the possibility that it's a Gilui Milsa. For some reason he doesn't like that here. I forgot why, but for some reason he doesn't like that. It says v'doichak lomar davarak gilui milsa. It says not similar to the other places where there's a gilui milsa. But it's not. I don't know exactly why, but I didn't look them up. But that's what he says. Okay, says the Gemara, Rabbi Lezer Shah. Rabbi Lezer asked, "Ma'u lasos oel mior be'matmea." What happens if you? What he really means to ask is not can you, but rather, what is the status of an oel made out of the hide of a tummy animal? Says more. What do you mean? V'aksivaros Choshim, it says explicitly that one of the awnings over the Mishkan was made out of Choshim. And Rabbi Yehuda, Rabbi Chemi, Rabbanan. That's Machlokes Rabbi Yehuda, Rabbi Chemi, Rabbanan. Rabbi Yehuda had tinin. That's what we're about to discuss. Rabbi Yehuda had tinin. It says it's a tinin, which is some sort of tummy animal. L'shem tzovo nikon. It's called by the name of its color. Rabbi Chemi Mar galktinin, which is another kind of tummy animal, right? Rabbanan amrei min chayat Torah. Rabbanan say it was a unique kosher animal which is now extinct, ugdela by midbar, and it grew in the midbar. Okay, in other words, it never grew subsequently. V'tai is like v'asya, and v'tai kai, and it goes like to my Rabbi Lezer, Rabbi Yossi, and Rabbi Avo, both said b'shem Rabbi Shimon ben Lakish, b'shem Rabbi Meir, Kemin chaya to'era, a type of kosher animal. Bara HaKadosh Baruch Hu l'Moshe b'midbar, when Hashem made for Moshe in the desert, came and also b'malechus HaMishkan. Once it was utilized for the work of the Mishkan, Nignazo was subsequently put into Gniza, subsequently made extinct. Rabbi Avun Amar Keret. They're in there holding fence. Rabbi Avun Amar Keresh Hayashma. Its name was Keresh. Tani Rabbi Yeshua. Rabbi Yeshua learned the Chada Keren. It was a unicorn. Had one horn. Vatita v'tivla l'Hashem mishor par makrin mapis. Now in the Bible, this passage brought down is referring to the shore, the ox which Adam Rishon brought as a korban in the first korban which was brought. But here in the Yerushalmi, it's referring to the Choshim. And it says that it's going to be better for God than the shore par makrinu mafris, which had horns and it had also hooves. So the horn is makrin, but it's ruined out yud makran kosav rachmana, and we learned that we darshan that to mean that it only had one horn. And this unicorn was the animal from which they made the roof on the Mishkan. So according, yeah, it was. Yeah. No, I mean according to this opinion, right? No, but of course they may have been familiar with Greek mythology, but they had to deal with the pasuk of Makrim. They're dashing the pasuk that's taking a step further. There was no need for them to dash that way. So, but in any event, it's be that as it may. This is according to Rabbanan. So Rabbanan don't have a raya that about making a tent out of a chayat meya, because according to them is a chayat tahira, right? Okay, says Gemara, Talmud, we learned over there. Anything which is less than 3 by 3 finger breadths, but nevertheless you designate it for a specific purpose, such as Shizkinu Lopukpo es Americhot. You designate it for stopping up a bathtub. They designate to use to shake up a pot. Be designated to use to clean out your millstones. Whether it's prepared or not, Tomei. Now, what prepared or not prepared means to discuss in a minute. Rabbi Shua says a different shot. Shua argues. So another is a different shot. He argues. Now here's a big typo. Instead of the next 3 words, Av Matlis Chadosh, it should be Bain. Both the Korban Eidah and Pnei Moshe correct this. They say Bain mean Hamuchan, Bain Sheinu min Hamuchan Tohar. Since it's less than 3 by 3, regardless of whether it was designated or not, it's Tohar. Rabbi Akiva says Bain Mina Muchan Tame. It was designated, it's Tame. Prepared, it's Tame. V'she'enu Mina Muchan. It was not prepared, then it's Tar. Okay? Now, what do all these things mean? I don't think so. I don't think so. I mean, it is in Kalim, but I don't think it's. Did you possibly know from Kalim?
No.
No? I don't remember this in the Bibli, but it could be you're right and I'm wrong. I don't know. Come in Shabbos Tav Chav Tes. But in any event, so it says Gemara, what does it mean? What is this mucham business, not mucham business? So first of all, I want to say, although the Gemara will reject this, bein sheichina l'toch habayis o sheishlicha l'hashba. It doesn't matter whether you prepared it in your house or you threw it in the garbage. As long as it has a use, it's still considered to be makabel tuma. Says Gemara, this cannot be. V'atnan, didn't we learn? Rabbi Lezer omer af matlis chadosha kayetziba. Rabbi Lezer said, now this is a little bit lacking here in the Sefer. It's kind of shorthand. If you take a look here in the Pnei Moshe explains it better, expands on it. The Pnei Moshe is where it says v'hatnan, and that is, if you look up from where we are in the Gemara, 4 lines of the Gemara, you'll see opposite there v'hatnan in the Pnei Moshe. Do you see that? Why should he have to pay for the wall? Yes, little gap. It says there in the 27th parak of Kalim, if you have a 3x3 at both, which you threw into the garbage and the refuse heap, it's tar. Hichzira, if you took it back, it's mail. It's makabel tuma. So generally speaking, always it's casting away makes it tar, and chazarosa it's taking back matamosa, takes the tami. Chutz mishal argomim shel zahoris toiva, except for purple dyed material, and that which is a beautiful red. If you throw them out, they're still makabel tuma, because you're a fool. You're butler daitcha. It's clearly still valuable. Even a brand new rag, a brand new bolt of material is similar. Because they are so significant, lobatle, they're not cancelled. Okay, so that's what the Bright, that's what the Mishnah says there in Kalim. So let's go back to the Gemara. So he's adding on. A person never says af, even. Afilu, so also means even. Ella, rather, adei, unless Maidya Kamaisa. Unless he concedes to the original point. So what was the original point? The original point was that if you threw it into the garbage and it's not of a special material, or it's not brand new, so it loses its status as tumah. Yet Rabbi Lezer said over here, we quote him, Bein min hamuchan bein she'ena min hamuchan tameh. So how can the same Rabbi Lezer say, if you say she'ena min hamuchan, means, if you say bein min hamuchan tameh, it means that even if it's still in the garbage, it's still tameh. And even if it's not a new garment. Yet there, in the other Mishnah, it seems quite clear that Rabbi Eliezer is agreeing that if you threw an old garment into the city dump, it's not makabel tuma anymore. Only a new garment is still makabel tuma after you threw it into the city dump. So if you're going to say that minamucha and eno minamucha pertain to whether you put it on a garbage dump or not, and that Rabbi Eliezer holds regardless it's makabel tuma, it doesn't square away with the other Mishnah, which says that even Rabbi Eliezer agrees that unless it's one of the significant materials, once it's thrown into a dump, it's no longer matame. So that could be the definition of minamucha.
Maybe you don't have the intention, you're throwing away something new, and you don't have the intention to ever retrieve it. So then it won't be makabel tuma. It's only the chaz.
No, but it still won't. Well, maybe you could say that. Gemara gives a different answer. Maybe the Gemara could have said that. I'm not sure. I don't want to. Didn't think it through, so I don't know. But the Gemara says this is the pshat. Really, we're talking about a simple piece of cloth, and you didn't even have in mind to throw into the garbage. However, Ben shechina litloisa, ben shelo yechina litloisa. The difference is whether Rabbi Lezer, when he says minamuchan, ben she'enu minamuchan, it's talking about if he designated rate to be a patch. Because what is a 3x3 piece of material good for? For a patch, right? So if he ben shechina litloisa, ben shelo yechina litloisa, it means regardless of whether you designate it for that purpose or not, as long as it's not in a garbage dump, it's makabel tuma. If it's in a garbage dump, unless it's made of zahoris or gaman or something chodosh, then it's not going to be matame regardless. But if it's not a garbage dump, whether you designate it for the purpose of using a patch or not, it's still makabel tuma. Period. Okay? You don't need designation. The other Tanoim argue they hold you need designation, but he holds you don't need designation. Hada yafa minahi, vahi yafa minado. This case learns from that case now, and that case learns from this case. Hada yafa minahi, that case learns from this case. Divi Rabbi Lezer v'husha kipla. This is talk. That which our Mishnah, Hadi Amineh means our Mishnah learns from there. I'm sorry. Hadi Amineh means our Mishnah learns from there. When Rabbi Lezer says that when you twisted it or folded the garment to be a wick, that it's still makabel tuma. That is as long as all you did is folded. But if you threw it into the garbage and retrieve from the garbage in order to use as a wick, so then that's okay. Because according to Rabbi Lezer, the moment you threw in the garbage, as long as it wasn't new or purple or red, that's it. It's batal, it's chashivas, right? So therefore, if all you did was folded it, so then it still is mikabel tuma, and then you can't light it Erev Shabbos. But if you did something more than that, such as throwing to the garbage, then you can use it as to bench licht on Friday afternoon. Okay? That's what we learned from there. Vahi alpha minadah, and that case is from our case. B'shelo hechina litlosa. That's talking about over there, where.
Okay, so it seems like he's saying that the way I see that Rashi, it seems like Rashi's problem.
That Mishnah over there in Rabbi Akiva. Rabbi Akiva said over there in that Mishnah that minamuchan tameh v'sheinu minamuchan tar. When it's designated, it's tameh. When it's not designated, it's tar. So we say again, vayi yavim minadah b'shelo yechin etlosa. When does Rabbi Akiva say that it's not going to be makabel tuma when he didn't prepare it to be used as a patch? However, if you prepared it to use as a patch, so then it's makabel tuma. I understood this better before. Now I'm not so sure I fully understand it. 1 second. Yeah.
How do you pay? There's going to be cost though. Rashi says, I didn't really want to be saying that you have a average phase, even though it's good.
No, this is the Chiddush. This is the Chiddush. Now I remember. Moshe. Even if you singed it, it could still be makabel tuma. That's what it means. Because Rabbi Akiva said, Rabbi Lezer said you must singe it, right? Rabbi Akiva said you don't have to singe it. But says the Gemara, even if you did singe it, it's still makabel. There's still ways in which it could be makabel tuma. When it could still be makabel tuma? If what? If it's muchar for what? For a patch, right? In other words, if you, because bear in mind, we're talking about our Mishnah, a large garment, right? A garment which you twisted, and then we have a machlokas. So Rikiva, twisting is sufficient. So says Gemara, a twisting might be sufficient, and certainly singeing is sufficient. But that's only if you didn't have in mind to use a patch. The moment you have in mind to use a patch, that's it. Even if you twisted and singed it, it's still going to be makabel tuma, and of course you can't use it to light on Erev Shabbos.
But it's contradictory. Why would you singe something that you want to use?
You change your mind afterwards.
I learned it enough to see time.
You're changing your mind, and your mental designation is sufficient to get you in trouble. Okay? Says the Gemara, Umatari Rabbi Lezer. What's logic, Rabbi Lezer, who Aser is using this thing to bench Licht on Shabbos? Not this Keli. Nasaka Matar Kelim Shabbos. So, the reason is because when you light it on Shabbos and it burns, you're being Matar Kelim because that's when you're breaking it. It looks like you're doing a procedure on Shabbos. Says more, Mikivan Shekiplu Lo Torah. I understand. Well, it's saying Rabbi Elazar, when you fold it, that should itself indicate Tara. You twist it into a wick. Says more, no. There are expert artisans who want it specifically folded or twisted. I don't know what they do with it, but there are such people. Ask Mara, okay, so you're breaking the keli. Big deal. When are you breaking the keli? During the day, right? Yom Shitar does become Torah during the day. So what's the problem? You're not breaking the keli on Shabbos. No, the Yotiv Shchalios Be'erev Shabbos. Because sometimes Yotiv comes on Erev Shabbos. And when the Yotiv comes on Erev Shabbos, you might light with this baguette, and you'll be calculated on that Yotiv. Ask the Gemara. Now the Gemara just kind of glosses over that answer. Where it says, I don't understand. What? Yeah. It's Xera. Yeah. Oh well, we have those. Even the Bavli's got them. So it says more Velomi later. So what? It's burning on its own. So since it's burning on its own, what do you care? Now the truth is there's something messed up here in the Gemara. Because once we know what the Xera is, because sometimes Yom Tov comes on Erev Shabbos, then it's not burning on its own, right? It is burning on its own, but it's burning on its own on the day which is Asr. The concept burning on its own means once Shabbos begins, your hands are not involved with it anymore. But if we're asking because of Xera, that sometimes Yom Tov comes on Erev Shabbos, then we got a problem because you're handling it on an Asr day. You might come to handle it on an Asr day and burn it on Yom Tov. All right, so I'm not sure if the Gemara already. I should think the Gemara is out of order here. Okay, so says more. Amar Rabbi Yisrael tipoter b'shayubo sholosh al sholosh mitzvos.
Initially had two persons.
Right.
Because again, part about what is it?
Oh, now I understand it. I didn't understand it before. Now I understand it. Stupid me. Okay, now I got it. It is specifically predicated on the previous line. The Morris Kasha is. Wait a minute. Okay, so you're saying it's a problem when Yom Tov comes on Erev Shabbos and you're lighting on Yom Tov. Yeah, but so what? When is it going to lose its status as a keli? Tonight, when Shabbos begins. By that time, you're no longer involved with it. What's the problem? In other words, you made Xera not to bench lich with these kelim, because you might come to light them when Erev Shabbos comes on Yom Tov, and then you're being about to the kelim on Yom Tov. So what? You're not doing it. It's going to happen later on Shabbos. By that time, you're already not dealing with it anymore. So it says more, you know what? We're talking about where they were the wick was exactly 3 by 3. So when is it losing its chashivas? On Yom Tov, the moment you lit it. Okay? It's very, very simple. Okay. Rabbi Yachar, and tonight I'm awake too. Be serious. Rabbi Yachar, it's better to be asleep. Then you have an excuse. Rabbi Yachar, Rabbi Shimon Nazira. Rabbi Yachar, Rabbi Shimon both say name Rabbi Shimon the Nazir. Asa Mazor Torah. If you made your garment into a bandage, according to Korban Eder, or into a belt for a vessel, not for a human being, a belt for a vessel, then it's tar because it's losing status as a beggar. Ask the Gemara, I don't understand if that's the case. Shari b'shem and lavkim yishasah mazor. If you stuck your wick into the oil before Shabbos begins, surely that should be considered no different than making it into a bandage, right? It's surely ois keli at that point. You ruin it by sticking it to the oil as a wick. And the Gemara doesn't answer the question. So it's a good question why you shouldn't be able to use it at all.
Did you dry it off?
No, it's still, but staying, it's ucky. Rabbi Zir and Rabbi Yana didn't have tied in the old days. Rabbi Zir, Rabbi Yana, Rabbi Yana, Shem, Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi said, Yeshua ben Levi said, Nir and Dvorim Shetei Aloha Rabbi Akiva. Hypothetically, we should pass on like Rabbi Akiva. What does Rabbi Akiva say? Rabbi Akiva says that it depends, not our Mishnah. Rabbi Akiva over there says that it depends if it's mina muchan or not mina muchan. So if it's muchan, mina muchan, it's tamei. If it's not mina muchan, it's tahor. We should really pass on like Rabbi Akiva. Shomer me'ain't shneim, because he determines the difference between the two. He's machriya in the lashon of the Bavli. He reconciles the two. In other words, Rabbi Lezer is machriya whether it's muchan or not. Rabbi Shua is maker whether it's muchan or not. Kiva says it's also if it's eina mina muchan and mutter if it's mina muchan, right? Designated to use as a patch. So Rish Pastor Kiva because he comes in the middle and he reconciles the two. He doesn't reconcile them, but he arbitrates between the two. However, ain't like Rabbi Yeshua. The halacha is really like Rabbi Yeshua says whether he designated to be a patch or not. It's still not mekabel tuma because mikule shalosh shal shalosh. It's considered to be a kula by 3 by 3. That designation does not suffice. What do you need besides designation, actual usage in order for it to be mekabel tuma? Lo sof dover tohiro says on Rabbi Kiva our Mishnah, who said that you can once it's twisted, it's tar and you can use it. It doesn't mean that it really has to be tar. Afilu tzmeil, right? It can even be tummy. You can even light with something tummy. There's no prohibition lying with something tummy, right? That's obviously not a problem. But rather, what the Chiddush Rabbi Kiva is saying in our Mishnah is a different one. Beginning the Rav Amar Mesikin Ve'Kelim Ve'Ein Mesikim Shivik. Rav said you're allowed to bench licht with whole vessels, but not with broken vessels. Right? So you're now allowed to use broken vessels in order to bench licht. I forgot why. Oh, because it's yontif, right? Because they're muktzah, right? You're not allowed to light on yontif shchalius berev Shabbos the shiur kelim because the shiur kelim are muktzah, right? Because they're broken vessels. So that's why Rabbi Kiva is coming to say that this is not considered a broken vessel. In other words, once twisting into a wick, even though it's no longer technically a baguette, it's not considered to be a broken vessel, and you use that in order to light your candles Friday night. Okay? On that Friday night, even Friday night, which comes on Yom Tov. Friday Eve, which comes on Yom Tov. Halachadam. Lo yikov adam shefer shel bitza. Now, everybody has the gears here. Beitza. Yeah, it's. I don't remember where I saw it's a mistake. I think in the Torah Tmim was Baruch Shamar. But it's, you weren't there when we learned this in the Bible? You don't remember this either? I'm sure it's in the art school by the Shabbos. I think it's the Baruch Shamar. But, let me just see here. Rabbi Akiva Eger. Rabbi Akiva Eger brings down the Maharil. Rabbi Akiva Eger brings down the Maharil who says Shofar Shobitza. So it's a Rishon. Maharil already says Shofar Shobitza, yeah. A swamp reed, which makes much more sense than Shofar Shobitza. Whoever heard making an egg and piercing an egg and using it as piercing an eggshell and using it for holding oil. It did?
Perforated in that chunk.
What is shoferes shobetza? Shoferes means a tube. Doesn't it make much more sense to say a tube of a reed? Pizza means of a mud swamp, of a marsh, of a swamp. Eggs don't come in tubes. So I always say, okay, I like that much better.
And use that as like a...
No, it won't burn probably, but it won't draw up the oil. You need to have, it has to be specifically material. Wood doesn't work as a wick. Okay, Luika Vadam Shafer Shal Pizza or Shafer Shal Beta. Malen Hashem should put oil in it. He then up on there and put it on top of the dripping down onto the candle. Even if this is an egg made out of pottery. Why should that be more mutter? Because one of the problems we're going to talk about, the Gemara is going to say, is we're afraid that you're going to take oil away from this separate contraption and use that oil on Shabbos. And that oil is very least is muktzah. But it's probably even worse, it's probably considered to be mechabe. Because since you intend for that oil to be burned on Shabbos, to take it away would be considered to be a problem of mechabe. So I might say if you put it into pottery, it gets repugnant, and therefore you're not going to remove it. That's not a heter, except Rabbi Yehuda Matzah. Rabbi Yehuda says that that's the reason to be matzah. If however the person who made this lamp made it in such a fashion and connect them together, mutter, that's permissible. Similarly, when a person should not fill another plate full with oil, and put it next to the lamp he's using, put the end of the wick in it so it goes from vessel to vessel. There should draw from the second vessel. Rabbi permits this practice. Ask her, what's the problem in our Mishnah? What's the lum this year? Is it mishum shlohuscha b'chol tipa v'tipa? Is it because each and every drop was not begun from before Shabbos began, right? And therefore it's as if on Shabbos you're beginning a new fire, right? Since it's dripping down, so you're beginning a new fire on Shabbos, and that's also. Or shemish kach or that we're afraid you're going to draw off oil and use it for other purposes. What's the difference between the two opinions? This is the Karmeneida is a pshat, the Mashbiach has a pshat, the Vnei Moshe is a pshat, but the Mashbiach says a beautiful pshat in this. Hayin Skuka Diaklun, he says, is those things which are required to be burned. Skuka means zakuk means required. Diaklun means to burn. So what does that mean? That they're required to burn means repulsive oil. If it's repulsive oil, so it should be a nafkamina. If you hold it's because they haven't yet begun to burn from before Shabbos, so then the fact that it's repulsive oil doesn't do any good, because it's still only dripping down on Shabbos. But if you hold the problem is that we're afraid you're going to take it away, if it's repulsive oil which must only be burnt, so you're not going to come to take it away on Shabbos. And even if it would be two separate pieces, it would be theoretically permissible. Okay? If you're going to say, because they didn't start using each and every drop, but that wasn't started. If you're going to say the problem is that you might forget and pour out for your own use, you're not going to forget and do so because it's repugnant oil anyway. Why is that permissible? It's different because it's all together. But there's an implied question here in the Gemara. Wait a minute. But that's so-called a chibur. What does chibur mean? Kadach. So I can say shekul achad. It's not kul achad, right? So it says Gemara. No. Elo im chibra b'yoytzer b'sida b'giftus. So it was connected with some kind of glue or cement, and that's why it's considered to be one. Don't hack me a trinik with the fact that it's mechubar and not echad. Mechubar and echad are the same thing. It's glued together. Yeah, but it's used as a the construction material. Okay? It's limer plaster. Pseudo gives us limer plaster. Okay, it's the Rabbi Yehuda. I don't even know what lime is. As far as I know, lime is something you put into your Coke. It's not in Sholem, he doesn't know what it is. Alright. Yost Rabbi Yehuda. Now you're getting back to Rabbi Yehuda's Shita who's matir. I understand Rabbi Yehuda's Shita is very good. Kedaite, like he says elsewhere. Rabbi Yehuda has a Shita. If I, let's say, have a drop here, right? And a drop here, and a drop here. So even though this is barely moist, that's still considered to be a chibur. Okay? As long as there's moisture. It's a very bad example because on the table you can actually see it. It's better with a piece of fabric. In other words, if I dab my shirt in this, right? So then it would still be considered, and then I put my shirt between two puddles of water, so it would be considered to be a chibur. Even though you can't see the liquid. The liquid is absorbed in the shirt. But that's called tofech. It's moist. Okay? Moisture is a chibur. So too with the carbon edut's tinus, what the Gemara means to say that the mashpiach has a different shot here. The way the carbon edut explains it, when it means just like moisture is mechaber, so too the dripping is mechaber. In other words, whatever is dripping out is considered to be mechuber to that which is down below. There's similar principles. So that's Rabbi's matidish for ferishal beitza. Okay? Even if it's not kli echad, it's okay. Alright? Now,
even if the drop is separate.
Right, because as long as it's dripping down, it's considered to be connected.
We've had this before.
It's called nitzok chibur. Right, we had this by the clothes and stuff like that, where the water's pouring down. We pass in nitzok is not a chibur. But this here he says nitzok is a chibur. Mm-hmm. And two different kinds, but they're both moisture. I know I take that back. I know if he's only matir. He might be matir by tofech amnas tashviach, where it's moisture which can make something else wet. That's not indicated here in our Gemara. It's not being discussed. I don't know. So says Gemara, Tani, we learn psila achas b'shteikos. Similarly, it says the end of Mishnah. If you have one wick going from cup to another cup, or b'shtei karos, or with two. Because Rabbi Yehuda dietate is also Rabbi Yehuda's opinion, the opinion elsewhere. To Rabbi Yehuda, I remember Tofei Achibur. Rabbi Yehuda holds moisture as a connection. In other words, the moist wick going from vessel to vessel connects the two vessels together, and that's why it's always to be one vessel, and it's okay. Okay, somebody who extinguishes a candle. Because he's afraid of goyim. Because of bandits. Because of he has a sickness or some mental ailment, afraid of the light. Or for a sick person to sleep, potter is exempt. It's also, but it's potter because it's not a positive act. Chasanev is doing in order to save the candle, the oil, the chasa there to save the oil. Chasam still to save the wick. Chayev. Rabbi Yossi, says you're potter by all of them, except where you want to save the wick, because you want to have charcoal at the top of the wick, so that's constructive mechaber. Okay? When our Mishnah allows you because of it's because the goyim will come and kill you. Or the bandits will come and kill you. Rabbi Yossi asks, even they listen to sakana, need they mutter. If you're going to get killed, so it's because never. It's not just potter, it's mutter also, right? Rabbi Yossi said, mutter. They change gears in our mission to the word mutter. This is a very weird question. The Bnei Moshe Korban have their pshatim. Well, I'll tell you, the two Yerushalmi has a pshat which I like better. But name that this is the case. Why is it? What's the difference if you extinguish a candle? This is, I'll tell you first. Bnei Moshe Korban. What's the difference if you extinguish a candle, or if you take oil out of a container, or out of an olive? They should both have the same status. What?
Taking oil out of the olive is more indirect. Extinguishing, just diminishing.
Yeah, isn't that a partial chiluk? So that's what the two Yerushalmi says. The chiluk is not that. That's not the question. The question is, Chos Hashem, we're assuming not that you're extinguishing the wick to save the oil, but rather you're taking the oil out to save the oil. Yeah. That would make the same parallel case. That's the Tov Yerushalmi shot. Everybody asks the question. Everybody understands the question. The question is, well, if you're just extinguishing, so it's the same thing like taking oil out of an olive. What's the difference, right? But he says, of course, it's not comparable, and that's why he says that the comparison is if you're taking oil out of the candle, that should be taking like oil out of the olive. And taking oil out of the olive, unless you're pressing it, is not necessarily doraisa. So to taking the oil out of the candle should not be necessarily doraisa. So it says one again. Mabe matzu mashmir matzu mash bezayis. Rabban the Kitzam Shem Rabbi Shila. Rabban the case Caesarea named Rabbi Shila. Dinua, they judged it. That is difference. There's no comparison between he who says from the wick, and he who says from beyond the wick. Okay? In other words, according to everybody else, what it means is, in one case, you're extinguishing the wick. This is the rice mechaber. In other case, you're just taking it from within the olive. That's not a problem. The other interpretation here, which is to Yerushalmi's interpretation, is that here it's something which is being drawn towards the wick. It's part and parcel of the candle already. Therefore, to remove it is to remove it from the burning entity. That's much more chomer than removing oil from an olive, which is not comparable to that. All right, the bottom line says no comparison. It's very strange. Havim means the Gemara had. Says more further. Rabbi Yochanan said, Rabbi Yossi, Rabbi Shimon, Shnei Mar Rabbi Yochanan. Rabbi Yossi and our mission, Rabbi Shimon, the famous Rabbi Shimon, both said the same thing. What is that? Kamad Rabbi Yossi Amar Achielo Tzorach Begufa Shabsila. Just like Rabbi Yossi said, it has to be a malacha atzricha legufa that you're doing it in order to get coal at the tip of the wick. Can Rabbi Shimon Omer? So Rabbi Shimon always says, we know that throughout Shas, it has to be a malach atzrich legufa. You have to extinguish it for the purpose of the thing you're extinguishing it for. What do you need from the wick? So Rabbi Mechina said, expert craftsmen, they singe the tip of the wick to make it easier to burn. How do we know that mecharchin means to singe? Says in Pasuk and Daniel, the head of their hair was not singed. So we see that singeing is called charach. What does the word mecharchelon mean? Mefasfisin. I guess in Aramaic, mefasfis means to burn or to singe. Time today we learned over there. Call mekalklin, anybody who ruins something on Shabbos is potter. Chutz min havavir, except for somebody who burns. V'minos chabura, or makes a wound. Bakapora mer, that's true. I feel ain't tzarich l'dam. Even you don't need the blood. I feel ain't tzarich leifer. Even you don't need the ashes. Rabbi Yochanan argues, although the Gemara itself doesn't bring that Rabbi Yochanan. All the Mefarshim here, every single one of them says Rabbi Yochanan should be in the Gemara. Rabbi Yochanan says it's true you're chayv if you're mekalkel by choyvel u'mavir, but only if you need the blood as a result of your activity. Now, this does be tzrich l'gufa. Mekalkel, if you wouldn't need the blood or the afer, that would be not only mekalkel, but it's melacha she'ena tzrich l'gufa, right? Because you don't need the result. In order to make it tzrich l'gufa, you should, at the end of the process, need the blood or the dirt which you're getting, right? The blood or the ash which you're getting. Says in Ramasi. So please go, Rabbi Yochanan. The following Mishnah seems to argue in Rabbi Yochanan. It says, Shorosh Ilikas HaGodish. If your ox burnt down somebody else's hay pile, on Shabbos Chayiv you got to pay for it. Chayiv here means pay for it. If you yourself burned it down on Shabbos, potter, you're exempt. You don't have to pay for it. Why? Kim l'rabminei. Kill you instead. Says the Gemara, Shorosh Ilikas HaGodish b'Shabbos Chayiv, obviously. Shalol Tzorach, right? It's if you there's no I forgot what Shalol Tzorach means. Right, it's not for the purpose, so the person. So of course you're chayiv. But who shaligas hagadish v'chu shaligas hagadish b'Shabbos patur. But here, when he lit the no, Shotzach means Melach Shein Tzrich L'Gufa. It's Melach Shein Tzrich L'Gufa. That's why he has to pay for it. Well, it seems that, whatever, it's just semantics. It means that he didn't do it. But however, why is he potter when he himself lit the Godish? According to Rabbi Yochanan, Afilu Shelo Tzarech, it sounds like even if he didn't need the dirt, the ashes, he's still potter from paying. Why? Where's the Kila Rabbi? If he didn't need the ashes, he shouldn't be Chayim Misa. And there should be no Kimli Rabbi. Why is he Potter, right? So the more answers you forgot. This is a Pasha of Bavli. Tani, we learn it's all over in the Bavli. Tani, Kol Mischai, but Nafshu Shogim, maybe Chatos. Anybody who's transgresses in Avera, the Bishogeg is Chayiv Chatos. The one is Chayiv Misa, if he didn't amaze it. Amri Chanina, Breder of Hillel, Mi'achar. So Chanina Ba'Breel took the step further. He said, "Miachar." Here's a typo. It should be Miachar Shalotzorech. Chaim is Chayiv V'Nafsho. Any time where if he did it in a way which was tzrich l'gufa, where he needed the ashes, he'd be Chayiv Misa. V'kan Shalotzorech Potter min Tashlumin. Here, even if you did Shalotzorech l'gufa, you're Potter from paying. Because we know that Kila Rabbi applies even where you're not liable to death penalty in this specific scenario, if you could have been liable to death penalty in a related scenario. And that we know from the following drasha, Minada, from this pasuk. It says, Makabei Mishaman, it says, if you smite an animal, you pay. Makar, if you smite a person, you get killed. Ma makabeim, or just like when you smite an animal, lo chilaktaba makes no difference. Beim shogil mezid, whether you smote the animal intentionally or unintentionally, l'chayv b'mamon, you always got to pay. Av makadim, so too when you smite a person, which is a capital crime, lo tach lo bo ben shogil ben mezid liftar b'mamon. No matter what the circumstances are, you're always exempt. Kila Rabbi works even where we don't give you the death penalty if it's a crime which, done in the right circumstances, could have given you the death penalty. Okay? That's true, but you don't have to come on to that. Even if it's not Chaim Yisrael, even if it's a Shogeg Gomer, it's not Chaim Yisrael still. The Kasha of the Bar Kapora. I have on the other hand a Kasha Bar Kapora. Havora lomda kol malachos shabbatayra. Kula tzorech. V'hisha lo tzorech. Let Havara teach all the malachos in the Torah. Why is Havara unique? That Havara doesn't have to be the L'tzorech. Let you be chayav in all malachos Torah, even the lo tzrich l'gufa. Like Rabbi Yehuda Taka holds, right? Bakapor is going Rabbi Shimon. He says Rabbi Shimon that by Havara it doesn't have to be tzrich l'gufa. Why not then so to say by all of them he doesn't be tzrich l'gufa, right? Why the distinction? Rabbi Yossi said, in Yisbark, Rabbi Yochanan, if he holds like Rabbi Yochanan, Damar Havara Limda Kol Malach Shabbat Torah, that holds that Havara teaches us about all the malachas. Remember, this is machlokas, famous machlokas. Havar l'lav yotzar l'chalik yotzar. Havar l'chalik yotzar means Havar is specified in the Torah. The only one of the 39 malachas. Why it's specified? To teach you chatas in each and every carbon, and each and every malacha. So if you would hold, if Rabbi Yossi holds Rabbi Yochanan, that holds Havar is the chalik yotzar, so then he would have a kasha. He'd have to learn out that each and every malacha in the Torah also you should be chayav and shlotzar. But Rabbi Lezer Mar Havara Limdo Latzma. Rabbi Lezer says Havara is unique. Havara is special unto itself, that it's only a lav and not a chi of misa. So therefore you can't extrapolate from there to anything else. So to Ula holds Havara is unique and we can't extrapolate from there to anything else. Well, there's a flaw in that. What about Chayvel, which he said also doesn't have to be L'tzorach? We'll come to that tomorrow. Yeah, it's poor. It only relates to the Bavli, not to the Yerushalmi. So the Sarah Shas to the Bavli. The photo, that's the main source.